For you, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, everyone. Those that are able, if you would stand with me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning. Morning, Mr. Chair. Good morning, everyone. And good morning to our crowd this morning. To look to Tabitha to find out if she has anything that's last second, nothing last second. I'll look to the board. Any additions or deletions to the agenda? I look for a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second. Motion and a second to approve our agenda. A conversation regarding that, hearing none, those in favor? Aye. That motion passes. Our next item of business is number 4 on our agenda. It's an approval of our consent agenda. I will look to the board if there is anything that anyone wants to have pulled from the board for further discussion. Otherwise, I'd look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve. Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Got a motion, is there a second? And there's a second. And that'll take care of the discussion then. This is a roll call vote. Commissioner Wincher. Aye. Commissioner Casper. Aye. Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
And myself, Commissioner Jelinski, is an aye vote. That motion passes. We move on to item number 5 on our agenda, community development. And Carol Anderson is with us this morning. Carol, if you just come up, please, take a chair, pull a microphone down in front of you. And I know you know how to talk into a microphone, so I don't have to go into that. And just go on from there. Introduce yourself, where you're from, and so on and so forth.
So Carol Anderson from Community Development of Morrison County. And so we do, you all know, the economic development work in the county. And I hadn't been here for a while, so I said to Matt and Tabitha, geez, maybe I should come update you guys. I kind of what's been going on. Some of it you saw, a few of you went through and toured North Freeze Drive a week or two ago. And that's a very large project. They're not quite finished with it. They still got some equipment left that they have to install, but the equipment's there. They just got to get it all hooked up. But that was a large investment, like $50 million in Morrison County, and we welcome those kinds of investments. Falls Fab is doing a big expansion. They're adding 40,000 square feet onto their facility over in the west side. Their business has really been growing. Barrett's, their business has been growing. They added their second line. The building was designed for that. If you walk in there, I mean, that building is just stuffed full of products, as well as the old IWCO building is full as well, and that's 200,000 square feet. We've been doing loans now. Last year it was a little bit quieter, but we did some of the bigger deals like Falls Fab. Now I'm seeing more smaller deals, more retail. We just closed 2 within the last month. One was for a garbage truck. And another one was for a chiropractic clinic. We've got 2 more that are coming up for approval next week at our board. And we've got a couple around the county in the pipeline. So business is there. Also working with the Little Falls Chamber and the Rural Minnesota SEP, that we want to work together with the chamber, SEP, community development, probably the city, to try and make people more aware of the services that are at SEP, as well as businesses. For example, the businesses, they have an incumbent worker training program, and they can go in. An example was one in Royalton. And they bought a robotic welder, and one person knew how to run it, and that person left. So SEP came in, paid for the training. They trained 5 people. Joe Bird at J Products is another example. He needed some training for marketing for his business, for his sales team. Rural Minnesota SEP came in and paid for that training. So we have it's not just for people looking for work, although that is the main focus of ZEP. It's also for businesses that are looking to upskill their own employees as well, and to help them find employees. So we want to make people more aware of that. And so we're maybe looking also at adding on to our website at community development, and then you can link to it about what it's like to work in this particular business or industry. So as people come to the state is running a program, like if you remember Explore Minnesota, based on that program, but they are running and going to run another type for that program. And it's going to be to attract people to come live and work in Minnesota. So what we want to do is to piggyback on that. You know, if people are coming and wanting to locate in Minnesota, well, they should come live in Little Falls and work in Little Falls, or Pierce, or Royalton, wherever around the county. So that's what we're going to start working on if we can pull that together. Community development co-sponsored job fair this spring, and I think the county was there. I'm not sure. We had quite a few businesses there, and 700 people came through. A lot of them were students. We are putting a big emphasis on getting students from the area schools to come to these job fairs so that they have an opportunity to know what is here for employment if they choose not to go on to school, or even if they do. So we're working to help co-sponsor those types of events. I was also kind of instrumental in getting that meat processing class going at Central Lakes College. They have 16 students so far that have graduated. They get about 8 a semester. All of them have jobs by the time they're done. And the folks at the college tell me that they ended up making between $20 and $25 an hour. So those are good jobs in our community. They help them get apprenticeships. Bridgewater College is running kind of the same type of program, but theirs is done more on an online class and an apprenticeship program with various meat processors. And people are joining that from all over the country. So it's a really good program that Minnesota got going here. There's more funding that the legislature appropriated last session to help pay for tuition costs. And also you may have heard that the state of Minnesota got $15 million that they can help from USDA to help local meat processing companies expand or start up. So they've got that program up and running now. I know they've got already 2 applications. I'm on their loan committee that will be reviewing them. And so that's moving forward. At the same time, when State Department of Agriculture applied, Minnesota Farmers Union applied, they were going to run $15 million through 5 states. Didn't get approved. And last month, USDA contacted Minnesota Farmers Union and said, would you want this money? And it was $834,000 to run a loan program. And so Minnesota Farmers Union said yes. And so they will be running a program just in Minnesota to complement what Minnesota Department of Agriculture is doing. So there's money for training people, there's money for equipment, startup. Cheryl Hills is done at Region 5 now to do the technical assistance. And we have scholarships, and Rural Minnesota SEP is trying to include people in, hey, do you know that this is a good profession for you? So it's all working together, to help stand this up in Minnesota. So that's kind of what I've been up to the last few months. Commissioner Casper's on our board, so he knows some of the deals that we've been working on and things we've been involved with, the daycare at the school. And there's just a lot going on.
Good. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's a lot of very, very positive information for Morrison County that you just got done with. Some of the figures that you used, the dollars and cents are astronomical. And they are here into our community. We could just as well say, well, they bypassed us and they're not here in our community. Pretty big dollars and cents, obviously opening up a wide variety of work opportunities, employment opportunities. I'll look to the board for any comments, questions, concerns for Carol. Commissioner Lemaire?
Hi, Carol. Thanks for coming here today. Just a couple questions in regards to like Barrett's and North Breeze Drive. Are they having any difficulty finding people to work?
Everybody is, and yeah, they are. And it takes, it takes a lot to get people to come in, although from some of the job fairs and that, was it, North Breeze Drive got 5, right from that. So the one thing that rural Minnesota Seth will tell you in the Career Force Center is more and more people now are coming in looking for work. And I think that's to do with some of the SNAP benefits being changed. People's other unemployment benefits when they got laid off are done. People feel safer now, that they feel COVID isn't around as much. People that have retired are now unretiring. There's a whole segment of that. So all of that's now starting to come together, but every business, and I think we're well aware of it too. It's hard, it's tough to find people.
Because they were just, Mr. Chair, they were discussing that they wanted to start a second line, but they couldn't find enough people to start that second line. And actually, starting wage was pretty decent. I was surprised that their starting wage and their benefits package was pretty incredible too for a private business.
And they will also tell you 2 other things. When we're trying to attract people here to work, they can't find housing, and they've lost some key people that they couldn't find housing, or some are living in Sartell. That's one thing. The other thing that they're saying that their employees have a problem with is daycare. They can't find daycare. And so that's why we're hoping the project with the school will maybe help alleviate that somewhat. But I think John Rademacher said we have slots open that need to be filled, like for over 400 kids, and there just aren't any places for them. And so what do you do?
Mr. Casper?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was just going to ask Carol if you have found a buyer for the ethanol plant yet.
I'm not, selling it. However, I know that there have been 2 parties that have looked at it and a third one that had expressed some interest in it. So yeah, there are parties that are looking at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Winter?
No, I'm good. It's great information here. Thank you.
Carol, absolutely fantastic information. I appreciate every time that you come to see us, and you haven't been here for a while. And that's no disrespect or anything, but just the way the world works. So thank you very much for stopping in, giving us a quick update on happenings in the county, and there will be another day.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And I should also mention, I forgot, we've had 2 international companies coming and looking at our community. So, I mean, we're kind of getting to be on the national spotlight.
Cool. Very cool.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for your support.
Have a wonderful day. Stay safe. Keep smiling.
All
Keep up
right.
the good work. Carol.
Yes, thank you.
All right, our next item on the agenda is item number 6. It's the sheriff's report. I see the sheriff is here this morning and Tony is along with them, so we'll see what they've got to say.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board.
Morning, Sheriff.
Morning, Tony.
Tony, good morning. Sheriff, according to the agenda, we're going to talk about possibility of approval of expenditures for the purchase of a body scanner for the jail. And that was the opening line. You're on.
Yes, sir. So yes, the Tech 84 body scanner, I think we discussed this initially at a planning meeting in February. I think Tony, and he's kind of spearheaded this whole project, so I'm proud of him. He's put everything together, put presentations together for you guys as a board, and I think everything's been going pretty smooth. I wanted to just come and kind of touch on a few things. we are prepared to move forward on this if the board is ready to vote on it. We want to utilize our assigned fund balance from sheriff projects. And we have more than enough money to cover it in there. So the total cost for this Tech 84 body scanner is $190,650. And that's going to include the body scanner, the warranty, and some other miscellaneous things that need to be paid up front. And again, we're looking for this to ensure the safety and security of our jail environment by detecting contraband, concealed or inside a person's body, obviously. And that would include any type of weapon and or illegal controlled substance. And we just feel that this is going to hopefully prevent some of the smuggling that's going on, not only in our jail, but it happens in every jail, statewide, nationwide. So again, we're looking for the safety and security of our staff, our inmates, the visitors that come through. And yeah, hopefully it's going to enhance our operational efficiency as well. We'll be able to streamline everybody through their intake and screening process. So with that, if there's any questions, we're here to answer the questions before approval.
Sheriff, if I may open things up just a little tiny bit. There's obviously people on this side or that side that will say, what do you mean? We're gonna spend another $200,000 in the jail and what, for prisoners? For people that have committed crimes? We're spending money on those folks because they did something wrong. And now we're gonna get this fancy X-ray machine and it's going to detect whatever it'll detect. For them, what's the deal with that? But I think what we have to do is we have to put a big parentheses there and then in bold letters say, wait a second. We have a lot of staff that work in the jail. Your brothers, my brothers, your sisters, your husbands, your wives that come into contact with many, many things. And yes, it's their job. I got that. I understand it very clearly. But if there is a way, in my opinion, obviously I'm supporting this. Let's make that very clear. If there's a way that we can have our environment more secure for everyone all the time, when we all know that it takes a little bit of a piece of powder in the air to incapacitate any of us in that environment. Whether, I mean, that's just what it is. That's what we're talking about is this environment. I just don't know how we can not do this. Not that I am advocating, let's spend all the money that we have. And either are you. And what you're doing today is you're coming before the board and you're saying to me, you're saying to the board, at least this is what I'm hearing, is that you do have a fund balance that will take care of this expense. And yep, and it is an expense. There's not a question about it. And I think if I read things correctly, there's a 3-year warranty included in this price. I'm saying included just because of it's included in this price, I think. 2-year, okay, I'm wrong, sorry. 2-year warranty. And the next person down the line may say, well, what happens after 2 years? I gotta tell you, what happens when your watch battery dies? You gotta fix it. It's the same kind of thing. That's my 2 cents. I'm gonna look to the board. Commissioner Winter.
Thank you. Again, this is kind of on the financial end of it, and Commissioner Zelinski brought up the dollar amount. Where does this, and I know the answer to this, but I just for the people, where does this money come from? Is this local taxpayer money that we're gonna be spending on this? Or where does that money come from?
So this is an assigned fund balance. So basically what happened is, I worked with the auditor in this case, and this money, some of it was for like our sheriff public safety annex. So what happens is money that wasn't utilized for that project that was left over, that will be utilized for this project. So it just kind of remains in there for projects like this that we don't really, you don't really think of it, but it comes up, you gotta deal with the circumstances, you gotta deal with the day-to-day operations, and now it's a need and the money's there.
It does, and again, I believe the legislature approved $500,000 for our county for the sheriff's department, if I'm correct about that. Is it additional above this year, I think?
There's there's some public safety aid money that's supposed to be coming in other funds, but again, if that comes through and it covers equipment, we could always utilize those funds to reimburse this assigned balance.
Right, okay, and then, when it comes to the scanner, and I know Crow Wing has one, I don't know who else has one. Is there other counties that would be utilizing this if possible, and is there gonna be a fee that we do, or since we all, work together? So if, I'm bringing a prisoner from Mille Lacs County, would they be able to use the scanner?
I can kind of answer that. So I guess number one, no one really wants to go out of their way to utilize another county scanner. It's just, it's really unheard of. It's one of those things where the last thing I want to do is bring an inmate or bring somebody in the field that gets arrested to another agency, because now I'm tying up that deputy. And that deputy's supposed to be taking calls, and they're probably already back a handful of calls to begin with. So at the end of the day, no one really wants to do that. So for us, it's more of just a understanding that we're gonna work with whatever agency it is. And if for whatever reason, an agency makes an arrest and they don't have a scanner at their own jail, we would just allow them to utilize our scanner. But obviously, if it became something where it's more than routine and it gets to be quite a few times, then we're gonna have a discussion and figure that out. But that's what we do. We help each other out. Crow Wing County, we utilized their scanner before. They never charged us a fee. They knew that we wouldn't be asking them to utilize their scanner unless it was something emergent. Or we had some type of belief that there could be some potential hiding or disclosing of legal controlled substances. So it's just a memorandum of understanding, helping each other out.
And my final question, Mr. Chair, 2 weeks ago at our planning, meeting, it was brought up medical. This is a medical device about the training tool. And you gave a great explanation. Again, could you give us what, the sheriff's department is gonna be doing as far as training this medical person and above and beyond, after, the training?
Yeah, once the device is installed, then there's training that'll be provided by the company to, make sure that our people know how to operate it, know what to look for. It is ongoing. They can practice using it with the different pre-installed images to see if, your staff can find what they're looking for. So it's, and the sales rep, take it for what it's worth, said it'll provide as much training as we need to feel comfortable using. So.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Tony, on that same topic, and I know you know the term train the trainer. I'm anticipating, I don't know the answer, but I'm anticipating that these people are gonna come and train, and they're gonna actually train, I would assume, train trainers in the jail. Would that be correct?
That would be correct. Yes.
So what you will have is you will have 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever the number is, actually certified, if you will, trainers that will train me, as an example, a new employee or a current staff employee that will be authorized, is that the right term, to train me on that item.
Correct. So that they can train their subordinates or new hires.
Very good. Commissioner Lemire.
Thank you for being here today, Tony, and I just have a couple questions about illegal drugs, heroin, stuff like that. And we all know how addictive those drugs are, and people are desperate and they'll do anything to get their fix. And if they ingest or put it within their body, will the scanner see that?
It'll show it's an anomaly. It won't show, or you won't be able to tell what it is exactly. You won't be able to tell. You might be able to see like pills individually, but if it's in a powder form, it's not going to tell you it's heroin or
You'll know it's
methamphetamine. It'll just come up as something that doesn't look normal.
alert anyways, yeah. Because this, I mean, if you get the wrong recipe of heroin nowadays with the laced with fentanyl, we could have a mass casualty incident at any time. So this would help prevent them, correct?
Correct. Keep it out, detect it so that we can keep it out of the general population.
Very good, thank you.
Commissioner Casper?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I was just gonna ask you gentlemen, was there talk that some of the opioid settlement dollars would be used toward this project as well?
So there was discussion and our thing is we need to move it forward. We do know that if, like I said, public safety aid money or any other, money discussion comes up later. And that's something we want to do, we can always reimburse the fund. But right now, looking at the number of instances that occur, even since we talked about this in February, there's probably been 3 to 5 instances where people continue to smuggle drugs into the jail. So we're looking at just getting this push forward, utilize the sheriff project to sign balance money. Then at some point, if there is money that comes through from the state, and it can reimburse that fund, we're willing to work with the board, willing to work with our CFO and make that happen. But right now, we just kind of want to get this pushed through.
Very good. Further questions from the board?
One more question, Mr. Chair. I think I explained to you, this included the thermal scanner, right? To the.
No,
Oh, it did not.
this does not include that, been another $20,000.
And what,
That grant up there.
yeah,
Grant.
right, that's right, okay.
Yeah, and just to clarify, I guess I said initially the 2-year warranty with the price that we're asking for, that's with an additional 5-year warranty. So just with the purchase, we're getting 2 years. And then the additional cost for the 5-year is added on to the full.
Okay. It's very good.
For the 5-year warranty, that's what we're asking.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
A motion and a second. I'm gonna ask for further discussion. Further discussion from the board.
Thank you for bringing the budget issue forward because that's the right place to get it from and we appreciate that. We have to, you know, that offers.
Further discussion. Hearing none, gentlemen, this is gonna be a roll call vote. Commissioner Casper.
Aye.
Commissioner Lemire.
Aye.
Commissioner Winter. Aye. And myself, Commissioner Jelinski, that is aye. This motion passes. Gentlemen, let's get her done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
thank you, guys.
Have a good day. Keep
Randy
mind
through it when you get it.
Yeah, absolutely. Randy can be first.
Those we got to charge.
God bless you.
Have a good day, gentlemen.
Take care.
All right, moving right along. Item number 7 on our agenda is land services. Miss Amy. Good morning. And how are you this morning, Miss Amy? Wonderful and fine, thank you. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair,
Yes,
Amy doesn't see what I do, but on this first matter she's bringing forward on this 255-foot self-supporting wireless communication tower, there's a representative that is online. If you have any
oh, very
specific
good.
questions,
Very good.
Mr. Brian Horn, but
Okay.
I'll turn over to you.
Thank you. All right, so the first item I have is to consider the conditional use permit request. This is from Aston here at Kinley Horn and Associates. And that is to construct and operate a 255-foot self-supporting wireless communications tower. This was recommended for approval by the Planning Commission at their last meeting. So now I'm asking you to consider this request.
Gentlemen, I look for a motion.
Make a motion to approve, Mr. Chair.
Second, more discussion.
Got a motion, got a second, and more discussion. Mr. Commissioner Winter, I'll turn to you.
Thank you again. I believe we all attended the planning commission and they did a great job vetting this here. The planning commission and the representative from this company was there too. So I have no further questions. Again, I'm supporting.
Further discussion from the board.
I would say that the applicant was very detailed and completed his application. I was very in it easier.
You know, when the planning commission meets, they have many things that they have to go over. And they're people from the public, let's be very clear, just like everybody else is here. Because of the applicant, this in particular item just blows. It just blows. Right, wrong, good or bad, I mean, it just blows. It's what I did. I'll look for further discussion from the board.
Yeah, Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Casper.
I was just gonna say that, this is badly needed, so it's a good thing.
Agreed.
Yes, thank you.
Further discussion. I appreciate the gentleman on the line, but we have no questions for you. So I will look to the board and I will say, those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? That motion passes, and thank you very much.
Great, thank you, Mr. Chair. The next item I have is to consider the final plat request, known as Valhalla Villas First Edition. This was also heard by the planning commission at their last meeting, and it was recommended for denial. And so this is up for your consideration now, Mr. Chair.
I have to ask, because I'm not familiar, and I apologize to everyone for this. And I'm very clear on what the planning commission's job is, but do we also then act on it? And we can act on it one way or the other, very clear. But is the ask here for the board to deny?
That's correct.
Okay. And so I will look for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Motion is made. Is there a second?
Let's second.
Okay, the motion is made and seconded to deny this final plat known as Valhalla Villas First Edition. Further discussion. Commissioner Winchell.
Again, we were there just attending the applicant did not come and present himself. At this, he sent someone else there. They also, the township was not, they did not, again, it's nothing wrong with that, but they did not make a recommendation whether it's for or against. And I again, I believe the planning commission did a great job vetting this, putting out the reasons why they denied. So I'll be also agreeing with the denial of the planning commission.
Further discussion from the board.
I just would like to say too that I believe it was 4 individuals attended the meeting, that were part of this plat, and they were against the plat. They, were understanding, some of them anyways, that when they purchased the properties, that the property, that the plat itself would continue to have that green space. And again, you know, they wanted to, you either have to have a green space on a plat, or you have to contribute money to a park fund. Scanny Valley Township wanted money for the park fund, but no, talk of dollar amounts was discussed or anything like that, so it was a pretty incomplete meeting, just because of their lack of information.
I agree. Further discussion from the board. Hearing none, gentlemen, the motion again is to deny the final plat known as Valhalla Villas First Edition, located in section 20 on the Scandy Valley Township for recommendation for the planning commission. Again, I'm going to ask for further discussion. Hearing none, those in favor of the denial signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. This item is denied.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. That's all I have today.
Very good. Thank you very, very kindly. Have a good day.
Thanks.
Thanks, Ian.
And I'm gonna look to our administrator for the administrator's report.
Morning, Mr. Chair, and thank you. My only action for today is to request to go into a closed session following committee reports to discuss pending litigation with a former employee. Other than that, I have nothing else for the board unless there's any questions.
Do you have any questions for the administrator?
Mr. Chair.
I'm good. Okay,
Then I guess look for a motion to approve going into a closed session following committee reports.
So moved.
a motion, is there a second?
Second.
You got a motion and a second to go into closed session for the discussion.
Bathroom break.
That'll happen, but that will happen, but it's not gonna happen right now. Why would we? Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passes. After committee reports, we will go into a closed session. So I'll get things started, and we are going to go from July 16th to July 29th. 16th to the 29th of July. And like I said, I'll get things started. The 18th of July is going to, my calendar shows 8:30 in the morning. We have a planning meeting. At 6 o'clock that same evening here in the boardroom, there's a planning commission board of adjustment meeting. And to the best of my knowledge, there is no planning commission that date, just board of adjustments. On the 19th at 3:30 in the afternoon, I have a state emergency communications board executive committee meeting. That's at 3:30. And that same day at 5 o'clock, I have a Hands of Hope meeting. Both of them are virtual. On the 20th at 10 o'clock in the morning, I have the Central Minnesota Emergency Services Board Owners and Operators meeting, which is virtual. And I'll move on to the 24th of July. At 10 o'clock in the morning, I have a State Emergency Communications Board planning meeting. It's pretty much an all-day meeting that starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, and this meeting is held in the city of St. Cloud at the St. Cloud City Hall. On the 25th of July at 9 o'clock in the morning, we have a county board meeting right here in the boardroom. On the 26th at 11 o'clock in the morning, I have a Central Minnesota Emergency Services Board Executive Committee meeting at 11. And at 1 o'clock, I have a Central Minnesota Emergency Services Board full board meeting. And both of those are live and at the city of St. Cloud. The 27th, 12:30 in the morning, or 12:30 in the afternoon, excuse me, I have a State Emergency Communications Board meeting. And that's virtual. At 3 o'clock that afternoon, the 2023 Public Safety Communications Conference Planning Committee meets, and I'm part of that, so I should be attending that. That's also virtual. And at 5 o'clock that evening, there's a Morrison County reception at the administrator's house. And that is all I have on my calendar. I'm going to turn to Commissioner Winchell.
All right, on July 17th, I'll be meeting with two townships, the Bellevue Township and Little Falls Township, and the DNR on Inca Road, concerning the trail that's being put into the adjacent from the Sioux Line Trail that'll be coming into Little Falls, and that'll be at 6 o'clock on Inca Road on the 17th.
Gonna be on site.
On site. On the 18th, I'll be at Great River Regional Library meeting. That'll be at 5 o'clock in St. Cloud. And that, on the 24th, there'll be an extension meeting at 5:30 here at the county. So that's at 5:30, Morrison County Extension. And other than that, you covered the rest of it, Mr. Zaczynski.
Commissioner Lemire.
20th, Long Prairie Watershed Policy Committee, 9 o'clock, Todd County Courthouse. 2 o'clock, same day, Safety Committee meeting. No,
Commissioner, we're gonna move that to quarterly, beginning, effective now, so you get an update on that.
so that's gone.
That's gone.
Okay.
Next time we'll meet is, September, I believe.
26th, HRA, 9 o'clock at HRA. That's it.
Commissioner Casper.
Yes, okay, on the 18th at noon, I have a community development meeting. And then also on the 20th, which is Thursday, at 9 o'clock, Central Minnesota Council on Aging. And then at noon, an airport meeting. And then jumping all the way over to the 27th, another Central Minnesota Council on Aging meeting. And then the 28th, which is Friday, 10 o'clock Mississippi Headwater Board meeting.
Okay, very good. And I will look to our clever assistant here and ask Tabitha if she has any questions of
Is
any
that,
of us.
is that in Walker, in Mississippi Headwater?
It is.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
Just if I could get the location, the on-site location for that meeting with the DNR.
It's a, I think it's a township road, Inca Road, so
Okay.
like that's, I can drive right up to it, but there's not.
Other than-
It'll be on site.
The
Yeah,
Inca Road on site.
Yeah.
And that's all. Beautiful. All right. So, gentlemen, I will look here and it's 9:39. We will stand in recess. And I'm gonna say.
Look at that.